It was the year 1945. This story takes place in a remote area of the Santa Monica Mountains in Los Angeles. Two spirited young men, Jack and Allison, lived there. They were very close friends, both between the age of 18 and 22. Since their homes were right next to each other, they had grown up side by side, going to school together, working together, and spending their free time chasing different kinds of adventures. Back in those days, entertainment for young people often meant heading out at midnight to fish or hunt birds. In that sense, they were quite daring. They loved adventure and had little to no belief in ghosts or the supernatural. At the far edge of the Santa Monica Mountains, there was a vast oxbow lake. During winter, it would come alive, filled with rare and beautiful migratory birds from distant lands. But reaching that lake wasn't easy. You had to cross a massive, dense forest. In fact, people avoided going anywhere near it, even during the daytime. And at night, it wasn't even a question. The forest was surrounded by chilling tales and eerie legends. Many who ventured into, or even close to it, reported strange, unexplainable experiences. Over the years, some people had tried taking a shortcut through the forest at night to reach their destination faster, but none of them ever made it. They simply vanished, without a single trace. One winter evening, during a storytelling gathering with friends, a heated debate broke out about the supernatural. Jack and Allison, who didn't believe in ghosts at all, were challenged by their friends. To prove their courage, they were dared to cross a dense forest late at night and reach a remote marsh on the other side. As proof that they had actually made it there, they had to bring back a couple of rare winter birds from the marsh. Confident and fearless, Jack and Allison didn't hesitate for a second. They accepted the challenge right away. The idea of going into the forest at night didn't bother them much, mainly because they simply didn't believe in anything supernatural. Without wasting time, the two friends quickly came up with a plan. They knew their families would never allow them to go out so late at night if they found out. So, they decided to wait until everyone was asleep and then sneak out around midnight to head toward the marsh. And just like they planned, on the chosen night, after everyone had fallen asleep, Jack and Allison quietly slipped out of their house and set off on their daring journey. It was around midnight. The cold that night was brutal, so intense that the temperature had likely dropped below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius. Shivering uncontrollably, they finally reached the edge of the forest. With them, they carried bird traps, an old-fashioned shotgun, and a dim flashlight that barely cut through the darkness. The winter sky was clear, and the moon shone brightly overhead. But a thick, heavy fog blanketed the area, making it nearly impossible to see even a few feet ahead. The combination of the sharp cold, the glowing moonlight, and the dense white mist created an eerie, almost surreal atmosphere. Huddled together and trembling from the cold, the two of them left the main road and stepped onto a narrow dirt path that led deep into the forest. Soon, the thick canopy of trees blocked out the moonlight completely. Guided only by their faint flashlight, they continued moving forward into the darkness. Allison suddenly stopped. Jack shot her a questioning look, but before he could say anything, she whispered, "We're not alone out here." "I'm sure of it." Jack froze and tried to listen. Within seconds, he felt it too. Somewhere behind them, something had emerged from the forest. Out of the pitch-black darkness, an unnaturally tall, extremely thin, human-like figure stepped onto the path. It was hard to make out clearly in the deep shadows, but what they saw next left them stunned. The figure, easily around 10 feet tall, was not alone. Beside it, moving in eerie silence, was something else. Something shaped like a four-legged animal. For the first time, both of them realized the same terrifying truth at once. They had made a huge mistake coming into this forest, dismissing all the stories as nothing but myths. The unnaturally tall figure suddenly raised its thin, skeletal arm and pointed directly at them, as if marking them as targets. At that silent command, the creature began moving toward Jack and Allison. If it was a dog, it was enormous, at least the size of a calf. Its body was ghostly white, almost glowing in the darkness. It let out an otherworldly growl that sent chills down their spines. Its vivid, blood-red eyes burned with a wet, savage intensity. Eyes that clearly did not belong to anything from this world. Slowly, it kept advancing. Frozen in sheer terror, Jack and Allison realized something far worse. It wasn't alone. More creatures were emerging from the depths of the forest. One after another, they stepped out of the darkness, surrounding them from every direction. These monstrous beasts from another realm began howling together in a horrifying chorus. Jack and Allison trembled uncontrollably. At any moment, it felt like the creatures would leap onto them. There was no escape, no hope left. Seeing their overwhelming terror, the tall, gaunt, black figure standing behind them suddenly let out a sharp, animalistic laugh. In a final desperate attempt, Jack grabbed Allison's hand and pulled her forward, running for their lives. Both of them sprinted breathlessly, whispering every prayer they could remember. Suddenly, they spotted something ahead. A massive, unnatural-looking tree, deep within the forest. Right beneath it stood a huge well. From far below inside the well, a faint, eerie glow was rising. Without hesitating, they rushed toward it. Desperate to survive, they quickly climbed down the brick-lined walls of the well. Their shotgun, flashlight, and bird trap were left behind on the ground above. Despite the freezing cold, both of them were drenched in sweat. When they finally reached the bottom, they were stunned to discover a narrow tunnel extending from the side of the well, stretching deep underground. The strange light was coming from inside that tunnel. With no better option, they decided to follow it. Just as they turned a corner, they suddenly found themselves facing a small, cave-like chamber. Something far more otherworldly awaited them ahead. Inside the cave, they saw a dim, flickering oil lamp casting restless shadows across the walls. Beneath that fragile light sat an old man, hunched over an enormous ancient manuscript. Something that looked less like a book and more like a relic from another age. He was reading with deep, unwavering concentration, as if nothing else in the world existed. The man was dressed entirely in pure white garments. A massive turban wrapped his head, and his long flowing beard and hair, both snow white, framed a face that was strikingly serene, yet strangely timeless. The worn, yellowed pages of the manuscript and the deliberate way he turned them made it clear this was no ordinary man. He did not belong to their time, or perhaps not even to their world. Jack finally managed to speak, his voice dry and trembling. Who are you?" At the sound of their voices, the old man slowly lifted his head and looked at them. His eyes, clear like glass, held an unsettling emptiness, a detached, almost lifeless gaze. Without warning, he snapped at them in a completely unfamiliar language, his voice sharp and commanding. Then, just as suddenly, he switched to their local tongue and barked, "Turn around. Now. Sit down and start reciting your prayers. Do not, under any circumstances, go outside." There was something deeply unsettling about the way he spoke, as if he already knew exactly what had happened to them out there. There was no time to think. Jack and Allison quickly turned toward the old man, then sat back to back, reciting the Kalima and every prayer they could remember. Time itself seemed to freeze. From outside came the terrifying echoes of hundreds of unknown creatures, feral roars and violent storm-like chaos crashing all around them. How long it lasted, they had no idea. Neither of them dared to look back. Slowly, a heavy drowsiness crept over their eyes. Suddenly, the old man's sharp voice cut through the silence. "Leave! Now!" He ordered them to go straight ahead, no looking left or right, no hesitation. At that very moment, they heard the distant call to the Fajr prayer drifting through the air. As they prepared to leave, Jack and Allison instinctively turned, wanting to thank the mysterious elder. But before they could, a furious voice roared from behind them, commanding them not to look back. He warned them never to speak of what had happened that night. "Go back the way you came," he instructed. And so, without turning around, they followed the same path they had descended, leaving behind a night they would never dare to explain. Darkness still lingered. The two of them kept running without looking back. By the time they finally reached home, both were in terrible condition. Jack was burning with a high fever, while Allison grew weaker by the hour, overcome with nausea and repeated vomiting. After several days, they eventually recovered. When they were well enough, they told their family everything that had happened. The story left everyone shocked. They were strongly warned never to return to that place at night again, and that is where the incident ends. But many questions remain unanswered. Who or what was that dark figure they saw that night? What was the strange four-legged creature that followed it? And who was the mysterious old man they encountered? These haunting questions still linger in their minds to this day.